What an absolutely incredible transformation we saw from Mike. Under a year, 83 pounds down. This considering Mike works night shifts, Mike's got a little boy, and on top of that as well, crazy busy lifestyle. So before Mike came to work with us, he had no game plan. He had an all or nothing mindset when it came to fitness. He was always on it or he was always off it. He was always up and down with his energy. Some days he would feel really good, some days he wouldn't. And the key component I can see there was he was relying on motivation. He was always relying on the way he felt. If he felt on it, he would do it. If he felt off it, he wouldn't do it, which would mean 50% or maybe even less than that. Let's say 30% of the time, Mike would be on it. 70% of the time, he would be off it, which would lead to not only maintaining but consistently going backwards. It would lead to him not feeling like the man he wanted to be. It would lead to him having absolutely no motivation. It would lead to him thinking, well, what's the point in me doing this? Because I'm trying, but I'm getting nowhere. No confidence in and out of clothes, and we can see the absolute physical transformation here. So I really want to run you through, guys, some of the key things that I saw from Mike in terms of mindset, in terms of his process, and I'd love to give you as many knowledge bombs as possible today for how we managed to eliminate the 83.6 pounds, how we managed to always get him excited for the next phase, because that's what's going to allow you to really see a transformation like this, where it's not only a £20, it's not only a £40, it's a real long-term transformation. It comes from you always visioning that next phase, knowing where you're going to be in 90 days, knowing where you're going to be in 180 days. If you're not asking yourself these questions of, a lot of people say to me, Matt, I want to be here in 8 weeks, I want to be here in 12 weeks. You need to ask yourself what your overall mission is here, where you want to be in 6 months, where you want to be in 12 months, what your long-term phases are going to be. So higher energy, less stress leading to better performance at work, actually being able to play with his son. He couldn't even go for a kickabout with his son outside before, and now he's training for high rocks, he's doing half marathons. He's not relying on motivations. He has a proven system that works for his life. And more than anything, Mike is now confident in and out of his clothes as well. So the frameworks that we took Mike through, very, very simple stuff. Your foundation phase, you are looking at 4 weeks here. And all you're looking to do is build together the foundations and the fundamentals for your entire journey here. So you're going to push, but you're not going to be at peak capacity here. What I would say at this point is you're probably looking for about 50-60% of your peak capacity. If you want to be a bit above there, feel free to, but I want you to be ready to kick into phase 2, because phase 2 is where you're going to drop the hammer. You're going to go full acceleration mode through that phase. So what you're doing is not burning yourself out. You're ready for the next step. So I would recommend here, let's say, for example, you say to me, Matt, I want to train 4 or 5 times a week in the gym. So let's say Mike came to me and said, Matt, I want to train 4 or 5 times a week. I'll say, okay, perfect. Let's make that 3 times. Let's make the sacrifice quite low. Let's get you getting really good results. And let's get you ready to kick up to that next gear in the next phase. Because the magic isn't going to come from him training 5 times. The magic's going to come from building a standard into his life. And that's what I could really see. The difference between Mike in the first photo and the second photo was Mike finally had a standard in his life. Regardless of the way he felt, he showed up. He consistently took himself out of his comfort zone. He actually became comfortable outside of the comfort zone. That's something I really push you to do when you want to make a big transformation, is say, right, well, where is my comfort zone? If I'm currently in my comfort zone, how can I take myself out of there? And suddenly when you take yourself out of there, that's when you see a massive, massive change. Now, what we then do is we kick up the gear. So let's say we were training 3 times a week. We then say to him, perfect, well, look, mate, let's stretch your vision here. Let's drop the fucking hammer and let's get you doing cardio 4 times a week. Let's really push. Let's push to the point that we actually need a couple of days at the gym in 8 weeks' time. That's what I recommend you do, because if you're always coasting along with your journey, you're going to find you're going to plateau. So what you want to do is get them results in phase 1, be able to kick up to the next level, drop an absolute shed load of weight, push yourself to a point that you actually need a couple of days at the gym by week 8, 9, 10. You can keep pushing this one as well. So if you take a bit of a deload, which is a couple of days at the gym, maybe even a week out of the gym, you give your bones, your joints, your ligaments, you give all of them a rest. So then you allow yourself to kick back in. So you may continue phase 2 for another 4 weeks at that point. You may utilize some extra refeeds. Something we did with Mike was we would say to him, right, okay, cool, you've got a meal out coming up here, you've got a social occasion coming up here. You're going to have 2 to 3 days here of higher calories and a maintenance, and we're going to focus on performance. Then we're cracking back into the deficit, and we're going to roll that for another 4 weeks. So it's that element of pushing and pulling. In this phase here, yes, you're pushing forwards. Then you continue pushing forwards. Then you pull back with a deload, you pull back with a refeed, and then you can push forwards again. What I would say phase 3 predominantly is you're actually pulling. Yes, you're pushing in terms of the fact you're looking to build muscle, you're looking to increase natural testosterone, because testosterone is going to drop as you go through a dieting phase. But realistically, what you're looking to do is reduce that diet fatigue, reduce any mental fatigue you have going down from the dieting phase, Then you're going to crack in phase 4 back into the dieting phase. So you can see all of this is very strategically planned out. I really recommend that you get more strategic with your journey. You understand your phases. You know where you want to be in 6 months' time, because this transformation didn't come from Mike saying to me, I want to be here in 60 days. It came from us saying, right, we're going to change the entire scope of your life. We're going to change your health and fitness for the better. We're going to allow you to become the man you want to be. And in 12 months' time, you're going to be running around with your son and being energetic. And because the goal was really fucking important to Mike, he went and made it happen. So make your goal important. Think about the big picture and your actual mission that you're working towards here. Phase your journey out. Make sure you push and pull for your journey as well. And in terms of the key pillars, always nutrition has to come number one. So what we're really looking for through that nutrition is making sure we go through multiple approaches. So for example, with Mike, we started with a hybrid meal approach. We've taken him into meal plan approaches. We've taken him through tracking approaches as well. I recommend you do every single one of these because it turns you into that fitness chameleon. You know exactly what you're doing. When you go traveling, when you're at home, when you're stressed out, you can fall back on the meal plan. Whenever I go on a diet, I go more so towards the hybrid meals or the meal plan, because at the end of the day, it takes thinking, it takes guesswork away from me. At the end of the day, because Mike was working night shifts, it worked really well for us to have 2 meal plans we were working off. One that was on a night shift day and one that was not on a night shift day, because it took decision fatigue away and allowed him to focus on what mattered, which was his business, which was his family, which was his fitness. So he didn't have to think too much when it came to the nutrition. So I really recommend you go through multiple approaches with nutrition. And if you want any guides with that, let me know, because I've got tons of trainings I can send you when it comes to nutrition. Now, as for the phase training approach, what we wanted to make sure for Mike was there was always consistent evolvement of his program. We wanted to make sure he could always look forwards and say, right, okay, cool, in 5-6 weeks time, I'm entering this phase here. My training program's changing and I'm going from a push and pull split into a chest and back, arms and delta split. And what that then does is allows you to go, right, okay, cool, I'm looking forward to that next phase. I'm buzzing for the next phase. When's the last time you had buzz, like genuinely like a buzz and enjoyment for your training? If you haven't had that, I would definitely go into the phase training system. And again, I've got trainings on both of these. So if you want me to send you anything out, ping me a message on Instagram and I can happily do that. And the most important thing is he had me in his corner 6 days per week. I was on Mike. I was saying, mate, where are your standards? What are your standards today? Are you showing up to your health and fitness? Are you showing up to your training? Are you getting your nutrition in? And a lot of people say they can't be asked for that level of accountability, but that level of accountability is exactly what's going to take you from stagnating with your fitness journey to taking you to the next level, because then you're not going to be missing days. Then you're going to be showing up. Suddenly motivation builds. Motivation builds once you're in a routine. Once he doesn't need so much accountability from me, we pull back and we just check in once per week. So that is what you really need to go and create a transformation like Mike's, is you need to build standards into your life and you need someone to hold you accountable. That is going to be the key difference if you want to make a transformation like Mike's this year. In terms of next steps, if you'd love us to work you out a game plan, ping me a message over on Instagram. There's my handle. I can send you out any of these guides here. So we have training, we have nutrition. If you'd like us to work you out a customized game plan, send me a message on Instagram, Coachmatt.wilson. I look forward to hearing from you and hope you take great value from the video today.